had a few people ask me about my plans for this season, for 2022, so I figured I'd put them all out here in this video. I wanted to start by recapping the 2021 season last year. So the last couple of years, I've been helping NB Drift. I've been one of the staff members, and last year, NB Drift started at a new track, or a new drift facility, a new facility to drifting, but not necessarily a brand new facility. We were able to bring drifting to NASCAR's famous Rockingham Speedway. Drifting was actually the first motorsport back at Rockingham Speedway after being closed down for some time. The owners there are super cool, the facility is awesome. It's been such an incredible experience and opportunity to be a part of it. I also got a decent amount of seat time in, so I drove at 10 events with NB Drift at Rockingham Speedway, and I also drove a few other events. I went and drove at Piedmont Drift, and I went down to Florida for Klutch Kickers, for one round of Klutch Kickers anyway, and that completely opened my eyes to how much room I have for improvement as a driver, as well as areas my car could improve. But even though I've still gotten a decent amount of driving in, I felt like something was missing for me last year. I had kind of started driving less than I had in the past to try and recoup from the costs, you know, because I had bought a truck and bought a trailer and all this other stuff. And so I was trying to save a little bit more money. So I was driving a little bit less, saving a little bit of money on tires and stuff like that. But I thought maybe it was the driving that I was missing. But I realized that at Halloween Havoc last year, what I was missing, I found when I got the tandem with my teammate Stacy Babb and his Blue S12. That was the only time we tandem all last year, and that is what got me excited about drifting again, as well as obviously the experiences at Klutch Kickers. Super cool, because I got to go drive with one of my longtime friends, Brandon Wicknick. I never tandem with him, and it's really cool to get to tandem with him there. So I kind of got an idea of what I was missing, and I realized that what I missed about drifting was going to events with my friends and just going to an event to drive and not to run an event. Running drift events it's a lot of stress. So everybody that hosts drift events, I appreciate everything that you do, because now that I've been a part of it and I've been super deep into it, I realize that as much as I love drifting, holding or hosting drift events was too much stress for me. So my position with NB Drift was always intended to be temporary, and I felt that this season, 2022, was the right time for me to step back from NB Drift and refocus on my driving, drifting with friends, and traveling to new tracks to make new friends. I'm still going to be helping with NB Drift in the background a little bit, doing some back-end work for them, but I'm no longer a main staff member for them. If anything, I'm more like supporting staff. Something like that. But this year, I have some really, really big plans. Originally, I intended to go drive at more competitions like Riverside and Klutch Kickers so I could continue to benchmark myself with my car to figure out how I can improve. But competition really it's not really my style. I don't really like competing. It's a lot of extra pressure stuff that I don't particularly care for. I just love drifting in general. And I've always wanted to do Drift Week, but it just hasn't been in the budget, unfortunately. It's pretty much an entire season's worth of driving and an entire season's worth of budget in just a couple of weeks. It's like one full week of drifting with about a week of traveling from track to track. And I'm fortunate enough to have friends like Brandon Wicknick who have been on Drift Week in the past to be able to talk to them about it and live vicariously through them. So when I was talking to Brandon, I told him some of my plans for this season, the reasons why I was going to Klutch Kickers and Riverside, why I had all these things on the list. And he told me that, when I told him I didn't really have the budget for Drift Week, and I hadn't planned on it because there was an opening, I said, I don't really have the budget for it. He said I should cancel everything else and spend all of my budget on Drift Week, because it is a full season's worth of drifting. You know, that much seat time all crammed down in just a couple of weeks. And that's when I realized that what I wanted to get out of Riverside and Klutch Kickers and other competitions is what I could gain from Drift Week and more. Because Riverside and Klutch Kickers, the reason why these are such cool competitions is because grassroots drivers can drive against some of the top Formula Drift drivers in the US. So it was like like that makes sense to be able to go and drive with these people. But Drift Week is the same thing without the pressure of the competition. I get to, you get to drive with people like Chelsea DeNofa, Adam LZ, Brandon Wicknick, Luke Fink, and all these other people that are some of the best drifters, not only in the US, but also in the world, as well as other social media influencers and drift YouTube stars, and other guys like me that are kind of grassroots and don't necessarily care for competition. So after I talked to Brandon about these things, I made some changes to my plans. I am extremely excited to say that I've been accepted to Drift Week 5. So I'm the second A86, I think, to ever go on Drift Week, the only one with a beam swap. I am super, super excited to be a part of Drift Week. This is freaking awesome. It's more than just like a drift trip. It's a whole experience that Aaron Losey from Lone Star Drift puts together. So like I said, the drivers range from top professional drifters to social media influencers down to little grassroots dudes like me. And we go drift at several tracks, and then we street drive our drift cars from track to track. It's awesome. So I'm gonna be Drift Week 5, which is East Coast, so it's the closest one to me, the easiest one for me to be able to budget for, so it just made sense. I don't know, I'm just so stoked to be a part of this. This is just so cool for me to be able to be a part of this, to meet these people, to drive with these people, and have this really cool experience. So make sure to obviously subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already, and also follow my other social medias at Dr. Garage, because I'll be posting content, not only like content of Drift Week, but also leading up to Drift Week, because I have some prep work to do to my car, because they have to be street legal, so I've got some things I need to change and fix on my car. In addition to Drift Week, I'm still planning on supporting other local events and doing more drifting. So, you know, old Brandon said to cancel all my plans and just do Drift Week. I have found a way to be able to budget to afford some other events as well. So I'm still planning to support MB Drift and go out for all their events. They have 6 events this year. All of them are 2-day events, 2 festivals. So you got Spring Matsuri, which is coming up in April, and Halloween Havoc, and that's in October. Both of them are just 2-day parties. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So make sure that you check those out. If you're in the Carolinas or nearby, it's worth it making the trip to Rockingham Speedway for these events. And if you're grassroots and want to compete, the MB Drift Grassroots Competition is one of the only true grassroots competition. There's a tire cap for the rear, and they also don't allow professionally licensed drivers in. So you'll be driving other people at that same kind of grassroots level as you. So that way, you know, you don't get a pro that comes in and just like, you know, sweeps the whole comp. I'm also still planning on doing 1-rounded clutch kickers. I still got some stuff to work out for budget and timing and stuff like that, but I still am planning on doing at least 1-rounded clutch kickers. And I heard there's going to be an 8-6-day Matsuri at Mid Pond. And Mid Pond is another track I've always wanted to drive at. It's here in the East Coast, well, east-ish, it's the South, it's in Alabama. At least I think it's in Alabama. Anyway, I don't care where it is. I know it's close enough by that I want to go. It's been on my list, so I am planning on making to the 8-6 Matsuri at Mid Pond. And the last drift-related thing I have actually planned for the year is I want to attend Formula Drift in Utah. Utah is where I started drifting at what used to be called Miller Motorsports Park, or MMP. It's now called Utah Motorsports Campus. It's an incredible track, a world-class facility, and I'm really stoked to see Formula Drift recognize that and put it on the list of places to go. So it's, you know, I think that years ago there was a GT Live event there, and I think that's where Brandon got his pro license, or they invited him to go to a Pro-Am event in Vegas to continue to get his pro license so he would compete in Formula Drift. And that's the only time there's been drifting on the main track. The grassroots organization that I've ran with there in the past, where I got started at, was always in the paddocks, but I've been on the main track for other road racing stuff. It's such an awesome track, it really is. It was at one point the longest road course in North America, but that doesn't really necessarily matter for drifting. It's freaking sweet. And then a couple weeks after the Formula Drift event, there's also going to be a grassroots event there. So if I can play my cards right, and once again, time and budget allows for it, I'm going to pull the 8-6 out there and go drift with Salt City Drift at their event. I think it's their Bonneville Bash event, so it's a big event for the year at Utah Motorsports Campus. Go hang out with all my old homies, go drive with these dudes that I haven't driven in a while with, and you know, get some tandems in. I'm like my original home track in my 8-6, you know? And that's it. That's all the plans I have for this season, for events anyway. If there's an event that you think I should make it to, make sure to put it in the comments. I'll take a look and see if it's something I can do. If you'd like to support keeping the A86 spirit alive, make sure to go into the description. There's a link for some merch, so click on the link, buy some merch, all that stuff. Thanks everyone.